You want to be happy? You've got to change the set of behaviors that you repeatedly do.
I'm serious. Now that you're talking about this, I'm like, whoa,
Yes.
this makes a lot of sense.
They are waiting tirelessly to get a free spot to eat. Confidence is a reward of being competent at something. We're not biologically programmed to do that.
Fantastic answer. And I'll tell you why.
You will have mastered the presence on a stage and you will be just confident. So the majority of people deal with confidence as if it's an emotion.
And this brings up this alarming question, if I may, right?
Yeah.
If confidence disappears the moment no one's watching, was it ever real?
When you're surrounded by greenery, this is the highest form of your cognitive function. I meet you for the first time and you don't respond back. It automatically triggers all the similar experiences that I have had with people whom I got to know for the first time. So we are repeating just patterns of behavior. Why? And who actually shaped or developed these patterns? Two things.
But the challenge is, my friend, you are asking me to either unlearn something or not conform.
Since we're predictability-based human beings, we keep imagining and replaying mental scenarios of what the future events will look like. The past and future coexist in our brain. Now here, where it gets more interesting, are you ready just to run a little fun experiment together?
3, 2, 1, and action. So everyone, today's guest truly understands the power of communication and transformation. And this is a very dear topic to my heart. For those of you who know me, I love talking about how people can present themselves in better ways, in better forms, and truly live up to their potential. So I was very humbled, in fact, very lucky to come across this person, whom happens to be the founder and CEO of Englisher Academy, one of the fastest growing virtual English educational platforms in the MENA region, empowering thousands of learners across Egypt, Saudi Arabia, and the UAE. He's also a respected public speaking figure and a confidence coach, helping leaders, executives, and CEOs own the room and deliver messages with clarity and confidence. With a background as a doctorate scholar in educational psychology, he blends evidence-based communication with practical coaching, focusing on vocal mastery, storytelling, and presence. What makes his journey, though, quite specifically special and powerful, in fact, is that it began from a very, very, very humble beginning. Literally, from struggling with English and confidence to becoming a global speaker, he now teaches the transformation he once lived. So without any further ado, I couldn't be prouder to introduce my guest and say, Mahmoud, how are you doing today, my friend?
Hey, I'm speechless, man. Really, what an introduction. So thank you big time, my dear friend, for the wonderful introduction. So, and just adding on the top of what you just said, I'm just like an everyday guy who happens to be very interested in human beings and also be curious to learn everything about different aspects of life and different disciplines. That's it. So, and I'm doing great, actually. Thank you. It's really I'm genuinely thankful, Abdurrahman, for having me today and delving together in the one of my most favorite topics ever. So I can't wait to navigate just different topics together. So
Awesome.
thank you. Thank you.
Awesome.
I feel like we've known each other for so long, by the way. And this is something, yes, it's this is one of the rare connections that where chemistry just clicks and you feel that like I've known you for forever, man. Even though we just met online. And let me tell you frankly, your smile is really contagious. And this
Thank
is
you.
something that most people forget very often, just forget to do, to smile. So, and I'm really thankful for having me. And just, so I'm ready.
To be frank, I mean, I'm the one who's lucky, but I truly want to really resonate and reflect. Why am I so excited to share this specific episode with everybody watching? It's because it's going to tackle and speak to a lot of different people from a lot of different backgrounds who not only have issues with English from the get go, because you're a person or you're a walking example. I have seen firsthand whom was struggling with pronouns and nouns and vowels and how do you even fathom the whole English language to the speaker you are today, influencing people. So that to me was already a click that, hey, it's possible, even if you weren't having the best conditions when you were younger. And
Yes.
more or less is to add on top of that topic with understanding the human psyche. And what did your research and your further delving into topics like psychology, neuroscience, which I was absolutely mesmerized by, really can be applied to the average Joe, as they say, or the average Ahmed, if I may call it that way, not the westernized version. So, without
Yes.
any further ado, I'd like to shoot at you right away a question that I personally would love an answer to, which happens to be I'll start off first with psychology, right? And how the human brain operates and how we perceive things. And this question is basically more about is human or is most human behavior driven by free choice or by unresolved childhood conditioning or circumstances that you faced while you're younger? I believe you're a
Um,
perfect example of a
well, yeah, this really a very profound question. So, I'm gonna try to answer your question like like just from a very simple perspective, right? But before I answer your question, are you ready just to run a little fun experiment together, yet very profound?
of course I would.
Perfect. Okay, I want you. Okay, I just made that up, by the way. Okay, it just came to my
Cool.
mind. Okay, so with your index finger, I want you to pinpoint. Just imagine there is a point in the air. I want you to like, yes, pinpoint any point. Just let me see your finger. Yes, you're here. Perfect. This is, let's call this is now moment, right? So according to our perception of time, we have past, present, and future. So this is your present or your now moment, all right? So I want you to raise your finger just within 1 second to any point high up, just like so. All right? So start over again. This, okay, get down. So let's start, but slow down, raise it, slow down. I want you to think of the now. I want you to stop anytime you want at the moment, the frame you think that this is a now moment. So for example, if you stopped here, maybe this is your now. Choose
Right.
any moment. Okay, would you like to be here? So as you move, I want you to stop and tell Mahmoud, this is my now. This is my present.
My now.
Okay, so I see your finger. All right. Now, here's a question. If I were to ask you to get back to the very first point where you started with your finger, would you be revisiting the past or would it become your present as well? So get back. Is it now, are you visiting, as Abdurrahman, visiting the past, or is it, it becomes a present moment again? As we're talking,
That's very interesting, but it feels like it's both.
it's not both actually, it's a present for you. It was past, but when you, if I asked you to get back to the very first school you attended when you were 5 or 6 years old, would you be visiting the past or it become present moment? Just happened to be the very first place where you attended when you were young, right? So again, it
Hmm.
becomes present. Now, here where it gets more interesting. If I ask you just to think of the future of your finger journey, where do you think might have like happened to your self if you're moving your finger? So you can be anywhere high up, right? After 1 second from now, you're here. So maybe after 1 second, I will be there, right? So again, let's get back to the future. Can you raise your index finger with me, please? So, no, start from down here, from the present, all the way up. Stop here. Now, did you visit the future or is it becoming again? It's present. This is where your finger at. Have you just visited the future?
Yeah. It's the
It's
present
a
again.
present. So the thing is, we live in a ever and ever present moment. So the past and the future are connected to the experiences we have had. So the past and future coexist in our brain. But because it's complex to understand time, we have done two things. So I'm going to explain it very simply. We do two things all the time. So we keep mentally revisiting the past memories and events, what we did and how we felt all the time. All right. And also, we are, since we're predictability based human beings, we keep imagining and replaying mental scenarios of what the future events will look like. So you are in the now. There is no future until you observe it. It's like just a double slit experiment. I don't know if you came across this as one of the
Right.
most, like well-known, like a breakthrough in the modern physics history in quantum physics, where when you observe the electrons, it behaves in a certain structure, and when you don't observe it, it has a different pattern. So it is the same for us. If you observe future, you will keep thinking about what the future events will unfold. And if you think of the past, you will keep replaying what has happened and how you felt. But when you don't have any events to experience, like when you raise your index finger, it looks like all now. That's why we lose sense of time when we fall asleep.
Right.
So I wanted to start with this, the fundamental basics of how the human psyche or how our mind just operate all the time. It's one moment, Abdurrahman. It is we are living in the present because tomorrow will become a present for you, right? So we only constructed time into this singular continuum because we keep thinking of the past and we keep imagining future scenarios. So, what's important for a person is the now. Now, so I wanted to just anchor this to your question. So, how do we operate? So, this is mainly, you can say this is like an autopilot mode. And this is, in fact, shaped our behaviors into repeated patterns. And this is what most of us are operating daily. So we are repeating just patterns of behavior. Why? And who actually shaped or developed these patterns? Two things: the mental replaying of what happened to you and the constant predictability of what the future will unfold to you. That's it.
Wow.
So, yes, because that's why whenever you meet someone new, it triggers all you project on this person, whatever happened to you. The brain here is blind, so the brain doesn't tell the difference between reality or imagination and a memory, for example. So it has to project something. Oh, like I meet you for the first time and you don't respond back. It automatically triggers all the similar experiences that I have had with people whom I got to know for the first time. So if I don't know, maybe if I've had negative experiences with taking initiative and get to know people, so I'm going to immediately label you that you're why you're talking to me like this? Why you're not talking to me even? So uh, I will keep labeling you with repeated patterns of experiences that I have had. This is how it's incremental. This is how we behave in patterns. And this is how it looks like our destiny. We've got the control to decide what our destiny will look like, what our social interactions will look like. It's based on what happened, and also it's based on the predictability that we have for ourselves.
Wow. That's quite, I'm going to see your word right now. That's quite profound
Yeah,
because I really, I'm an activity based person, right? So I really want to put my hands on a practical approach so that I could actually anchor that understanding to it.
yeah,
And that really just opens up a plethora of questions that I would
yeah,
like to shoot your way.
yeah,
Because you're a person who not only understands psychology and how the human mind could possibly operate, but you also apply it into your audience members, into seminar rooms, into lecture halls, into people you meet on a daily basis. And this brings up this alarming question, if I may, right?
yeah.
If confidence, if confidence disappears the moment no one's watching, was it even or was it ever real? I really want to understand what is confidence from your perspective and what happens
Perfect.
to, yeah, what is confidence?
Okay, I'm gonna start with the mistaken classic uh, definition or misconception that 99% of people have. So the majority of people deal with confidence as if it's an emotion that I can develop. It's not an emotion. It becomes a state feeling like a permanent status when you repeat any single behavior just repeatedly. So it's a set of behaviors. For example, if you're a shy person or someone like you don't really think that you will be able to get on a stage and talk and or deliver a speech in front of public, for example. So every time you get on the stage or you think about it, just you stress out and you back away from the idea, right? So this is a repeated set of behaviors that you practice until you have become confident in turning down any invitation for you to become a speaker on the stage. So this is you have the confidence to say no, right? So it's a behavior related to this. If you reverse engineer it, all right, and you actually said that why not if I said yes, I want to try it, and you get on the stage, you talk to people and you're shy and your heart is really bouncing and you're sweating, you get shaky voice and you experience all the stress symptoms and you go again, but you never give up. And again, you get on the stage, you try to do the thing, and you do it over and over and over again. What would you look like in your in number one, like in number 50 as a trial for you? At some point, you will have mastered the presence on a stage and you will be just confident. All right. No matter whether maybe for other people after 50 times, after 100 times, but the repeated behavior at the end will turn into confidence. Are you confident when you have a conversation or dialogue with your parents? Yes, if you are used to having to have a conversation with your parents, it becomes a pattern, set of behaviors. All right. Your best friend, your wife. So the thing, so doing anything in order to become a confident in anything, it requires just only repetition. That's it. So it's not an internal feeling that you develop momentarily. No way. We're not biologically programmed to do that. The human mind can't. No way. We don't operate this way. If it's something, it's a situation where novelty is inevitable. You're experiencing something for the first time. Guess what? You can't be confident. No way. But dealing with the stress, sometimes this is something, it's a different topic. But in order to become confident at something, you need to repeatedly do it until you're confident at talking with people, for like meeting new people. You're confident with speaking in public, or you're confident with just solving problems at workplace. So no matter the discipline or the field or the skill or craft you want to be confident with, you need to expose yourself to repeated behaviors. That's it. So just only repeat the thing until they become competent at it, and then confidence is on the top. Confidence is a reward of being competent at something. So that's it. No workaround. So most people want to develop the sense of confidence as emerging feeling. No way. It's a state feeling. You can't be sad and you can't be complaining all your entire life and then go to like a coach, life coach, or a therapist and say, I want to feel happy. You can't, because all your patterns of behavior that you repeatedly done as a routine is to feel sad and depressed and to speak negatively of the world. This is energy, man. So you want to be happy, you've got to change the set of behaviors that you repeatedly do or exhibit. So you need to demonstrate actions of happiness over and over and over and over and over again until happiness becomes a state feeling, not a temporary emotion. That's it.
Wow. I really, really appreciate the great distinction you've done when you just explicitly perhaps said that there is a fine line between the state feeling and what confidence actually is. It's something that you curate or that you build over time repetitively,
Yes,
right? In the same
exactly.
way. So, for example, what I got from what you're saying, you may be confident speaking to your mother, but you may not be so confident speaking to your mother and father together. That is a domain and
Exactly.
that is
Yes,
so how
because you
do you
haven't demonstrated this repeatedly.
right, right. So it's
Y-
all about the domain. You may be a very confident speaker in front of the people on stage, but you might not be the most confident person when speaking to your spouse or your loved one.
Exactly.
Fabulous. That's crazy.
You were spot on. Exactly. We can't prepare for confidence momentarily. We can't uh like like be in a present moment and just imagine or develop, try to establish this sense of confidence if we are experiencing something new for us. There like n- new neural circuits and pathways are activating. So you can be confident in something unless the brain had repeatedly just activated similar neural pathways.
Right.
That's it. Yeah.
It's like you see, we always face this issue, right, where we easily tend to label people or put them into boxes. So when you look at someone who's very well-spoken or quite eloquent on stage, you would call them, that's a charismatic figure or that's a confident figure. So you automatically stereotype or generalize that this is who they are throughout all of the facets that they live or all of the disciplines that they live through in their lives. And in
Yeah,
fact, might not be the story, right? It might not be the case. And just like how
yeah,
you beautifully articulated, it's all about the domains and how many repetitions you've placed or exerted effort in every domain, and hence the confident feeling.
exactly.
So
Yeah,
tell me, Mahmoud, I really want to know though, you're a big proponent of the 9 to 5 job system. You have spoken clearly about it. You have very interesting ideas regarding that issue. So
uh,
70% of the economy is under that flag, the 9 to 5ers, right? They even have a name. Is the nine
yeah.
to five job a system designed for human stability or for control?
Simply just for control, definitely. So,
Whoa, you owe me an explanation.
n- it's whole things like hospitals, like the entire education system and the financial system were originally built to mold people into like a pattern. So, I can tell you a little story before I can answer your question. So,
Let's go.
as as you know, so I used to be like the full timer guy, just a regular employee. All right, so working for like a university, lecturing. So and like it just 9 to 5, just steady work, nothing much. And I I used to sit for hours, like especially the last 2 hours of my daily working shift. So because like doing the tedious and boring office work, preparing for the next upcoming lectures that you're having the next day. So there is like a window right beside my office, and I would make myself a cup of coffee and just look out of the window. There was such a beautiful green landscape scenery on the other side. So I would, like sip my tea or coffee and just look out of the window and just enjoy the scene. Until one afternoon, I vividly and literally imagined myself on the other side. And I said, like, I thought to myself, why can't I be on the other side at the same moment? Can I do that? No, because I've been told that I need to clock out at 5. And if I clocked out earlier, like to on the biometric system, definitely it's automatically will affect your salary. It will deduct. This day won't count if you clocked out earlier than 5. Even though you don't have much work to do, this was right before COVID-19, by the way. So you can't do that. And when you question that, you will never find a connection between predictability and being inside enclosed space. So this was the first question that hit me and made me start to question things around me, like question the lifestyle that I had. So that was the first thing that made me question things, the 9 to 5 working hours. So when you actually, this is where it gets more interesting, when you actually investigate history, and for example, like in ancient Greece and in the Roman time, and all across different phases of the history, you will never find that linking was confined or limited to enclosed places. Take Socrates, for example. He used to lecture under the colonnades of the agora. So, agora means like a marketplace, it's an open space. So, he defied concepts, reshaped beliefs, and changed human being thinking in open places, just like a market. So Plato built his academy where? Buildings? And like within four walls? Absolutely not. It was in the grove of trees. Could you imagine? And more interestingly, the research shows that when we learn in connection with the nature, when we're surrounded by trees, and when we learn while hearing the sound of the rustling green leaves, and we could smell the scent of a fresh air, and when you're surrounded by greenery, this is the highest form of your cognitive function because you receive more rich visuals through your sensory channels. You hear different things, different sounds, and you see different and rich visuals, which and like therefore activate different neural pathways while learning. So people used to be thinkers when they learned not within just like four walls. So this is the first thing. So in order to make you not to think
Wow.
and just to mold you into a pattern of what we call learning or education system. So we had to, capitalism had to convince countries and the global systems that we need one standardized system that govern the whole process of learning. Oh, what do we do now? So we need buildings, we need classrooms, we need fixed seats where students sit and receive information, keep receiving, not interacting, not actively participating. Having said though, I'm not saying that the lecture is bad, but the dynamic of the lesson itself and of education, it's all scam. That convincing someone that, hey, you need to be here within four walls, sit to learn. Learning is taking place outside, man, from the social interactions, from the agora, from the open spaces, from those where we could meet people with different ideas. Now, thanks to ChatGPT and all the kind of the open source knowledge that is out there that are accessible, it rendered the schools as null because now the information and all the knowledge you think that it was confined or limited to going to school, now it's accessible even better and even more vast knowledge that anyone could possibly imagine is accessible now. So what are the schools for? This is a good question.
That is a fantastic answer, and I'll tell you why. So, 8 years ago, specifically, I had this habit built in me where I would go pray my morning prayers, Fajr, right? And I would go by the mosque, pray the prayers, and then back in university, that was all the way back in Malaysia where I got my education. I would go outside, and our university was very well designed. There is a huge greenery, like a huge green space, that I would find myself quite compelled to sit down after the morning prayer and see the sunrise and just sit down and have a nice cup of milk tea. I kid you not, Mahmoud. I did this for almost a week or two, and I was blessed with the idea of P2R, which is my company. I came up
Yeah.
with the logo, with the slogan, with the with the full-fledged business model while I was sitting there looking at the greenery space. Only
Yes.
then I started falling in love with the color green. I'm serious. Now that you're talking about this, I'm like, whoa, this
Yes.
makes a lot of sense.
Because you have activated some hidden areas in your brain cognitively, God knows only for how long would it be just deactivated if you hadn't gotten the chance to just connect with the nature. So it's rooted and grounded in your self that Yes, we need sunlight. We don't need buildings. We can if you have buildings, this is affect the way you perceive and reflect in life. That's why this actually justifies why people behave in pretty similar or in patterns. So we all finish at 5. Watch this. We all have weekends. Someone told us there are 2 days off. And if you want to verify what I'm saying, do this little experiment. Pretty easy. I want you to pick any weekend, just one day, maybe Friday, Saturday, just no matter where you live. So it's just one weekend, all right? And I want you just to go like after 8 a.m., just like maybe afternoon. Afternoon is good. Go any just mall, any mall, any just big mall. Take the escalator. I want you just to go to the highest floor. And I want you to look down people and see the crowd. It's gonna be like the base floor or maybe like the food court, but I want you to have like to look down people from the highest angle. Wait, because this is where you will get goosebumps. You will see that hundreds, if not thousands, of people are lining up waiting their food orders or crowding around tables and tired. They are waiting tirelessly to get a free spot to eat. This is a repeated behavior and they never question it. Who told them to do so? Do you know? It's a weekend. We must be there and we must have fun. And in order to have fun, we gotta wait. We should have food. We should eat some good meal. So we have to wait in lines. They are wasting time and they are tired. This is the power of the programmed behavior and the repeated pattern that if you don't question it, you will never break free out of it. So eventually, capitalism dead. So for years, it's a behavior, it's a weekend where we have to go out and wait in lines and to find a freedom. It's a repeated behavior, and it takes up your time and your energy. And at the end of the day, you feel you're tired, but you didn't question that. So this is something of the like just a little experiment if you want to verify yourself that repeated patterns just if you don't question them, it will be hard to defy and just and break free out of them.
Mahmoud, I guess honestly, most of the people watching this are going to fall in love with how you're trying to trigger them opening up some areas to just, punch a little or question or rethink, or I like calling it unlearn. But the challenge
Yes.
is, my friend, you are asking me to either unlearn something or not conform. The law of conformity. So you
N-
conform to the norm,
yeah, perfect.
you not conform to the norm. So what is the alternative?
Okay, perfect. First of all, uh, it's really hard for you to not conform. So we are optimized for group survival. This is against our nature. And we have had this, we have this fascinating experiment. I think it was conducted in the 1950s by someone's called I can't recall the first name, but it's called ASH experiment, conformity experiment. You want to know about it?
Of course, all
Okay.
ears.
All right. So this is just to justify what you just said that we tend to conform. So we call it the conformity experiment. So they brought a group of people. Okay, so it's like there were, I guess, 5 participants, and there was only one volunteer. So the 5 were all actors, part of the experiment, and there's only the participant, the one who doesn't know what's going on and what's it all about. He's been told, this particular volunteer, that this is a site experiment, all right? Just to evaluate the side ability, something like that, like that. So, and they brought a card on the left where it had just one vertical line, just like that, one vertical line, and another card that had three options labeled one, two, three different lines. And the question is simple: match the length of one of the three lines to the original line on the left. That's it. You only get to compare the length of the lines. All right, easy. And the other participant, the actors that they were part of the experiment, they deliberately said the wrong answer, one after one. So the right answer was two. The line should match the length of number two. But they went like three, confidently, three, until it's his turn. The first time he said two. This justifies that we as creatures, we start very confidently. We trust our gut feeling and instincts. We trust ourselves. Now, listen to this. It's going to hit you. 75% of all the old participants have confirmed with the second time. So when they ask it a different question where the answer is number two and changes just some of the multiple options, and when they said the same participant said the wrong answer, the volunteer, the participant, the target participant, he sat for a while and he intentionally said the wrong answer, just like to confirm. He doubted himself and he decided to confirm. They repeated the experiment over and over again with different participants. 75% of the participants confirmed with the wrong answer, just not to feel that they are the odd one out. Do you know why? Three forces are regulating this, Abdurrahman. Number one, cognitive efficiency. We tend not to overload our cognitive with being the odd one out. We don't want to challenge differences. So this is number one. So it's kind of like you're balancing the cognitive load. You don't want to just overload your cognitive with dealing with challenges and how people will perceive you as different. So we're not biologically programmed for this battle. Number two, social rejection. Did you know that social rejection activates the same neural circuits as physical pain?
Whoa, no, never knew that.
Yes, research shows that. So we're not. So we are driven by the power to fit in and just to be part of some community, some society, groups. So this justifies why I'm not saying that we should unlearn or like break free, but it is our responsibility to question and understand that if we are being manipulated or that we are being molded into a pattern, this is something you can't take away from me, to become self-aware. So let's call this podcast, it's an invitation for us to become self-aware, consciously aware one more time. Because we've been on the autopilot mode for so long. So I'm not just confirmed, but at least you know that this is some frame or some mold that you've been molded into, and something is not about right. So it's whenever you have an opportunity to break free, for example, like freelancer, that's why this justifies why it's like like the business or the type of business we're having. We have now numbers, uncountable numbers of freelancers and like entrepreneurs that we have never seen before. And it's so hard to convince these folks to work from 9 to 5 again. So hard because they kind of like broke free from the matrix. wow, I feel I'm a better version of myself trying while doing the work in the nature, like probably in the more enjoying the daylight, or maybe like I'm like doing my work. It's like in a like kind of remote or peripheral village where I enjoy the nature around me. Just I they feel now interacting with the world, with the external world, and this is really crucial for our mental, cognitive, and even physical development. So that's it. So just to
Wow.
wrap it up, we're not conformity is important. However, if wink if someone just like Corning experiment, when someone said deliberately from the actors the right answer, the same volunteer he insisted as well on his right answer. So he again conformity level dropped and he retained his confidence back and he said the correct answer. So it takes only like someone with you just to validate and someone just who's like supporting your perspective. And this is where conformity drops and you start to, like adjust and you start to actually change the humanity because sooner or later, so someone has to give this, like
Someone has to
awakening
become
call.
dominant.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Mahmoud, as we explore this topic, because like it's quite heavy to quite digest and register all of these nuances. If most people did not need jobs to survive, would you think society would become more creative or more lost? Honestly.
Yes. Okay. I would picture it this way: people will become very chaotic. You will see the mess. It's going to be like a mess we have never had in our entire lives. But this is because the brain needs a new pattern. We're like, what do we do now? The system is gone. What do we do now? But sooner or later, eventually, we will become the most better version of ourselves because the kind of the autopilot mode that we're having is really we haven't had the freedom to choose, right? I'm in Europe. I'm a Muslim. All right. I live in like Arabic. I have some history, I have some beliefs and values. But when it comes to like the financial system and or the educational system, as well as the medical systems, are you will find that they are the same everywhere and like the very similar to each other in different countries. So it is the kind of the system that is globalized as well. So for us, I'm pretty sure that we will have an opportunity to be who we are and think through our beliefs. It will give us a chance to answer basic questions that we never got the chance to answer, like who we are, what are our purposes in life, what do we stand for, and what is the one thing that we need to back away from. So everyone is super busy to answer these questions, Abdurrahman, because they don't have time to. Remember, they are learning in closed buildings. They have 9 to 5. They've been told that they have 2 days for weekends. They have long lines and long hours to wait for their food orders on a Friday evening. Remember, they have so less time to complain about what has happened at workplace. It's it's ever like going. It's infinite loop, and if it's broken, gonna say this is gonna be like the new birth of humanity. That's it. We will do what our ancestors have done. We will keep teaching and learning from one another. We will interact and we will help each other, I think. But humanity as its worst level now because we're too busy to change anything. We barely change ourselves, man.
Right. It's honestly, I know you're quite tight on time. I just wanted to pick up your brain as well because you reminded us how our ancestors used to live life and how they used to learn from one another. And that was the teaching methodology, right? And that's where creativity could possibly be born. But we
Exactly.
cannot deny the fact that with technological advancements today, which were human led initially to begin with, of course, have also helped transcend humanity in a completely different angle. And this takes me to the topic of AI, right? We cannot absolutely, in any way, shape, or form, believe that AI is not doing us some good, right?
A
My
little
question
good.
is
It's
a
a
little.
little good. A
That's why
little
I'm going to
good.
pick your brain.
It's yes, it's
Before I hear you out, if AI nowadays can do most cognitive work better than humans, what is a human actually for anymore?
I don't know. Simply because I believe that yes, AI is perfect, that it's one of the most recent breakthroughs in humanities, and but the bad news, it's for technological advancements. It's not in humanity. When was the most recent breakthrough that you witnessed in the human psychology? I want development, something, the breakthrough that help humanity not to become stressed. Tell me, name one breakthrough that helped humans reduce their stress levels. It's insane. You don't have. So this is the kind of perspective, like I'm sitting and watching this side. So everyone is rooting and for AI, and just everyone is giving a big hand and mesmerized of, whoa, look how fast all the big stuff tech is rapidly just growing and helping us do the work. It serves capitalism, bro. It doesn't serve you as a human being. Why? Because we have levels of cognitive functionability and a way of how we will learn and grow in life. For example, we remember things, we understand things, we evaluate things, we critically think things, and we self actualize, and we create, and eventually and finally we transcend, where we go above and beyond the self and pass down the knowledge we have to everyone. Imagine, imagine if I came up with an invention that deprives me from all this ladder. It just gives me everything. It has done everything for me. It didn't give me the chance to critically think. I'm talking about most of the folks out there who heavily rely on ChatGPT, and like someone at work, he doesn't think through the problem. He didn't critically think it. He didn't evaluate it. He just went to ChatGPT, give it just a fancy prompt, and it generated a whole business strategy. He handed it in to his manager, and khalas. Wow. Wow, man, it killed humanity. So as simple as that. So AI just killed humanity. Unless for those which is 0.0001% of the population who are very competent and smart enough to evaluate and critically think what AI has given to them. But not everyone. Look at the but by definition, as a lecturer, go to any university and see the pattern of behavior for especially the freshmen and the sophomores. Just only copy all their assignments, just AI generated, 100% AI generated. They don't think how to write. They don't think how to research. They don't think how to read scholarly articles, and they don't get the chance to tell the difference between fake and truth. This is something, my friend, humanity has already lost it. خلاص. Believe me, no, the truth is gone because if you don't know how to deal with the hallucinations of AI, you're lost. You're lost because it flips the untrue and makes it true. It can pick. It's this is you created a monster that can make people can practice pressure psychology and upload a book, ask it to summarize it to support your claim. It just only confirms your wrong ideas or your wrong concept. It will gladly, in the most fancy and professional way, will convince you that some certain authors are gladly and welcoming and supporting your claim in any subject matter. So it will justify like the untrue and flips it to become looks like truth for people. Now tell me, how many people could stop that? Only not intelligent people, but those who have the knowledge. I have the knowledge in my like the kind of domains that I tend to assume that I have good knowledge, good bunch of knowledge with. That's why I can stop the process. I can get what you want. AI simply. I'm going to rely on your visualization, Abdurrahman. Now, imagine we live in abandoned city that is contaminated, polluted, and we all are guarded with shields. So we all just wear like bulletproof shields and putting on masks. And the city is so contaminated that it's abandoned. And in order to loot from supermarkets, we need to shield and put on the mask and protect ourselves because if there is a leakage in the tube or something, that we're dead, we're finished. This is how I imagine life with AI right now. So not only one will have the ability to put the right mask and shield himself against the pollution, and this is it's like this is where we live. Yeah. So this is how I see it from my humble perspective. So we created a killing machine that kills our cognitive growth and development and kill the interactions and killed our fundamental principles of how we grow and survive together as human beings. And you can't stop it. You can't stop it. And people in the game, those who have developed AI, those who are in the kitchen, I want you to listen to their interviews and you will know exactly how scary it is and what we have done to the humanity is unreversed. Sorry.
Whoa, that was a big
So,
one. It's because I tend to speak to most of my guests and pick up their brains when it comes to the topic of AI, but this is by far a quite counterintuitive response that I have not received before. Everyone's like usually for AI and how technologically it's advancing the human race, as well as aiding it like an arsenal with proper tools, strategies, statistics, blah, 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 you name it, right? It does everything for you nowadays that we tend to even think of. It's starting to build this codependent relationship between you and AI. That what if tomorrow AI evaporates? Just a very, very, very surface level idea. What if it's no longer there? How would we be affected? It's just like the 9 to 5 job I asked you.
Perfect. We will do our thing as humans. We will remember. We will engage our cognitive functions, and we will connect with people to transfer knowledge and receive knowledge, and we will do our thing. That's it. So AI should be like that, basically to accelerate and help you save time. But it accidentally killed the growth that in order for you to grow, you must start the process. It killed that chapter from your cognitive load, man. What do we have now? We experience what is the opposite of the term cognitive overload, cognitive underload. Boom! If you are experiencing cognitive underload, you stress out, and believe me, look, I want you to get outside at any workplace and have just conversations, try as many conversations as possible with people, and mostly they will tell you how bored life is getting because you're not challenging the mind. So curiosity is what makes us alive. This kind of the how can I phrase it? The kind of the dopamine and the some of the excitatory hormones that you need a bit of them to keep learning and predicting. This is very healthy, but this is actually everything. If everything is predictable and everything is repeated, we're not helping ourselves. So hopefully AI disappears. So uh, so for, for, I
I promise
understand
you.
this
I
is
promise you.
counterintuitive. I understand that this might be seen as weird and just controversial. I'm on the other extreme of the spectrum, but believe me, I love. I'm genuinely interested in knowing and exploring all dimensions and aspects of human psychology, and I'm telling you, this is something. It's the worst thing ever for like a human mind just to rely on this one. Also, not to mention when you are when we have become, imagine 5 years from now, when everything is automated. I don't want to name it, but God only knows how many jobs will disappear, literally. And it's happening now. It's happening now. Perfect. When we rely very much on AI, we connect with AI. I believe in the future, uh, we will have, we will build emotional relationships with our AI avatars. This is what's coming. Have you watched the movie Her?
Yes, I have. Yeah.
Yeah, it's coming. This is this is natural. When you talk to AI a lot, I know people right now, Gen Z is starting they cannot make decisions until they have like a thoughtful conversation with AI. They even question AI and consult AI with their relationships, and they even seek their advice when it comes to making a big move in their lives. So this is scary for me. Yeah.
It's crazy. crazy.
But
Mahmoud,
eventually, we're gonna go to the edge of it, like the peak of AI. Then I'm happy because something human nature and how we biologically programmed, alhamdulillah, has its own magical force to just reverse anything that is against our nature. So at the peak of that, I could picture it, Abdurrahman. We will averge or return to the basic version of ourselves where we seek people. People will hopelessly find other people to know and to have relationship with. So this is a beauty side of it. This is it's like a flip coin. This is a part. This is a bag of it. So that at some point, at some point, people will abandon AI. Not just we will keep it function operating within the frame of business, but at some point we will get back to connect because I don't see that humanity as humans we're connecting. What I see global wise, everyone is stressed out. Everyone is indeed for like a therapy or kind of the emotional intelligence session. Everyone wants to learn how to communicate with the external world, and you see this very often. So in the 90s and the early 2000s, the 80s, 70s, go back to the millennials. I'm a proud millennial. Good baby boomers and we haven't had. I don't think ever the word depression. I haven't heard this word until I was like 26. So from the late 80s all the way just to the early thousands, I have never came across this word. And I'm not talking about me, but depression. Think about it. The- I assume that some research also just highlighted the fact that, like for like ancient generations, thinking about like 200 years ago, and just even like years before that, people haven't experienced depression. So the only stress hormones or neurotransmitters that they were released when they faced fear, like real fear, like lions, like tigers, like when they are in the battlefield. So, like, not only there is a few quite literature uh, and research that supports that, like humans had earlier. So the like our ancestors had this uh, physical stamina, physical and mental stamina. So uh, you can't tell that now. I don't know. Just to say it like in a simple way. So we are now, I think, humans. This is the most softened or the most tender and fragile versions of ourselves. Period. Reverse engineer it to know why. I'll leave it. I'll leave you with that. But
wow, that's
yes,
quite. That's you just left me with a banger here. Reverse engineer while we're fragile and we're quite tender. Like that's the most fragile version we ever came to be. Is there something even more fragile than this? That's a question that comes to mind. But yeah, that's quite an interesting takeaway, though. Quite an interesting takeaway.
yeah.
Would I cannot, I cannot thank you enough for quite a
Um,
thought-provoking episode, I'd say.
yeah,
It's just
it's an,
nothing but a thought-provoking
it's an
episode.
eye-opening episode. Yes. Unluckily,
And
I don't
I
know.
genuinely want to thank you for bringing those ideas to have the audience members just question a couple of things that they might possibly took as or they may took for granted because that's the way it should go. Questioning the word should in the first place should also be another area where we should dabble into who said should and why is it a should. But all in all, I just want to leave you with, if you have any final remarks you want to share with the audience in a statement or two, that would be awesome after all what you've said.
Just thank you, Abdurrahman, for having me. And to be quite honest, I never imagined myself be this open. And
I'm glad.
yes, open was just for with my ideas and concepts. So thank you for make it easier for me just to speak up.
Pleasure.
It's really I'm really grateful. And if I want to leave those who are watching just right now with something, I want to say just you are in the present. It's your life is just present. Stop dwelling on what's going to happen, what might happen to you, what has happened, and just live the moment and try to pause and reflect. Please, this is an invitation for everyone out there. You don't get the chance to pause and reflect. So I want people today to pause and reflect, to write down what they're actually feeling, whether if there are negative thoughts or positive thoughts. I want you to write them down and ask yourself this one question. Is it real? Is it real that this is how you're feeling and this is what you want to do? A person was mean to you, why you're talking like that, and you want to respond and want to react. Stop reacting, pause, write down all what's going inside your head, and then ask yourself, is it real? Is it really, this is what you want to do? And think it through and have some time connecting with the nature. So I believe uh, this has helped me reprogram myself. So this is a call, like awakening call for everyone to rewire their brains. Pause,
Ama-
write down, reflect. That's it.
Amazing. Everybody, this was Mahmoud Elneshawy on AE Talks. I'll be very, very, very sure to post all of his handles. A very, very, very prominent figure in the Arab world and the Middle Eastern region as
Thanks.
well. I'm very
Thank you.
happy that he had the time to join us for this very interesting conversation. And I promise you, it won't be the last. I'm still going to go hunt him
Yes, looking
down
forward
for
to our
more.
next episode. Yeah, can't wait
Absolutely.
as
Let's
well.
do it. That's fun. That's fun.
Okay.
Quite sure the audience members would love that. So yeah, without any further ado, Mahmoud, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. I had so much fun, and I wish you all the best, my friend.
Likewise, my brother. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me on. Thank you. I'll see you.